Why is everybody disrespecting Russ? What's going on? This is Coach Marcus for Pro Fan Talk. And the topic today is, why is everybody disrespecting Russell Wilson? Everybody knows what Russell is. He's the Christian athlete. A lot of people take that the wrong way, or maybe they take it the right way, because it always seems like when you have players like that don't want to get involved, people get uncomfortable with somebody that doesn't conform, somebody that doesn't like to go to the strip clubs, doesn't like to always drink, doesn't have 3 or 4 girls, that type of stuff. It's like people will go out of their way to try to bring somebody like that down for whatever reason. Channing Crowder said as much.
He's a square. Channing. He's a fucking square.
Channing, you be with him.
Goofball?
Yeah, you want that
You
guy.
want to get with goofballs. No.
Because when he referred to Russell as a square and what he said, why would you go on the attack like that? Just because that's not what you do? That attack was uncalled for. It wasn't even necessary. But I guess he was trying to make the point that someone like Russell Wilson, and I don't know what someone means because he's not in the streets making reference to Future and all of that kind of stuff. It's always like somebody's always trying to put their personality on somebody else. If that someone else doesn't accept it, if they don't do what everybody else is doing, people have a problem with that person because he's not the dude to go out and do all the dumb shit. Everything with Sean Payton, with the attacks, people tend to go after or attack somebody who they know is not going to fight back. Russell is not somebody that's going to come out of his neck. He's going to try to keep it professional. He's going to try to keep, be the team leader and be that dude. He's not built that way.
Being treated that way by that man, all I got to say to Sean Payton is you lucky you had the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Clark made a good point. He's not the one. And Sean Payton did get the right one, because you can't come across the way Sean Payton did with everybody, because everybody's not going to react the same way. You will find people that get into situations like that are always taking the brunt of, or being abused or taken advantage of, because they have the type of personality that will allow that. Until you get to a certain point, somebody has a breaking point, and even then they'll just walk away. They won't really do anything about it. They'll just remove themselves from the situation. The bad part about that is the person who was doing the abusing, or the person that was trying to take advantage, walks away with whatever they got from it. That person is not going to try to go back at them, fight them, get it back. They're not trying to do that. They're just trying to get out of the situation and keeping it moving. And that's what it seemed like Sean Payton was doing with Russell Wilson. The public displays, yelling at him on the sidelines, talking about him kissing babies. What the hell do you care? As long as he gets in between the, the white lines and runs the offense. Sean Payton was a little bit hypocritical because he had Drew Brees. Drew Brees didn't ruffle no feathers or anything like that. And last I checked, Drew Brees and Russell Wilson had the same number of Super Bowl wins. People like that only go after personalities that kind of allow that stuff to happen. Sean Payton couldn't have done that to Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, to Lamar Jackson. He couldn't have done that to Cam Newton. People with aggressive personalities wouldn't have gone for that.
This is why I tell players, why are y'all taking pay cuts? Why are y'all giving team discounts? You see what they do to you? The NFL owners have done a great job, because they're the only group of people that can convince the common folk. The millionaires are more selfish than the billionaires.
This is why players want guaranteed contracts. This reason why right here. Teams owe us nothing. Teams write those contracts out, and they can do whatever they got to do to change those contracts. Get you out of the last year of their contract, adjust something, or they'll pull you out of a game so you don't reach an incentive. Teams do stuff like that every year, so it's never fair. But they've twisted the outlook of it. When we signed Jalen Hurts, we gave him all that money, and we were still trying to think of, okay, how can you restructure the deal so you don't have to pay him as much money up front, so you can still sign other people. Everything they do, even when you're giving somebody franchise money, they're still trying to figure a way to make it better for the team. If a player doesn't want to take a pay cut, nobody says anything about the owners that are making billions with a B. They just call the players greedy or selfish. They're trying to get their contracts right off the bat. Look at what they're doing to running backs. Look at what they're doing to Russell Wilson. And he's not the only one. This has happened many times before. People want their money up front because you never know what the team will do to you, because it is all about business. And if they don't think you're up to par, they will cut you like a bad habit. They will buy you out of your contract and be done with you, because they getting the $300 million a year from TV money and all that kind of stuff. They can afford to do that. These teams make so much money that it really don't even matter. Players have to get what they can get when they can get it, period. And anybody, any fans that look at that stuff, you can't put your life into a professional player's mindset because you don't make that type of money.
I want you to look at it to a relative scale. Right. I need you to look at it in your terms. You're making 175 to 200,000, and your boss come to you and say, take 50,000 pay cut, so we can hire Karen and HR. You good with that?
You ain't even got to make close to that type of money. Let's say you don't have an $8 million a year contract. Let's say you had an $800,000 a year contract. That's still a lot of money. And guess what? If you made that type of money, you wouldn't be driving around in the same Honda you drive now. You can't put yourselves in another person's lifestyle. It doesn't fit. You're not going to do the same things. You're not going to eat at the same places. You're not going to drive the same car. You're not going to have the same friends. That's just the way that it works. People try to say, oh, I would do this and I wouldn't change. And yes, you would, because you never know what you're going to do when you're in a new environment. You never know how you are going to react.
There is no plan. It has to be, though, right? I think the plan is Russ, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here.
If you look at this year, Russ's stats were not that bad. They weren't great, but at the end of the day, Denver was in the hunt trying to make the playoffs, and they asked him to restructure his contract back in week 8.
Wilson's number this year, 26 TD passes. He ranks 6th in the NFL, only behind Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy. This season alone, I think Patrick Mahomes and Wilson's numbers are identical.
He's been playing with all of this stuff going on in his head. You don't go out there and give your team 100% and they ask you to take a pay cut. You don't do that. You just lose something when you're giving everything and they say, hey, we want to take something from you. Everybody's getting in there trying to get the bag. If Denver had a better option, they would have used it, but they don't. And Russell's still a pretty decent quarterback. Because I guarantee you could put somebody else in that situation under Sean Payton, and they probably wouldn't have done as well as Russ. Denver's in the situation, but you know what? Denver offered him that contract. I'm not going to get mad at Russ Wilson for taking it. He got his bag, and he was trying to play out his contract. And guess what? You got him a BS coach for the first couple years, and now you got Sean Payton, and because he's not a Sean Payton guy, now you want to kick him to the curb? Nah, enough with that. When you look at everything in total, this looked like it was personal because you don't do stuff like that to a franchise quarterback. You make the most of your situation. And if you want to compare Russell to a whole bunch of other people that's out there in the league right now, he's still probably better than most. If quarterbacks were that easy to find, he would have been replaced by now. Everybody up with the disrespect. You don't like how he is. You want to call him square. All of that kind of mess. The only thing Russell did was get out there and put his best foot forward. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But this is focused and this was personal, in my opinion. So guess what? Denver get what they get. Good luck trying to find another quarterback, because if you do, now you got another 2 to 3 years of development, depending on who you get. Everybody ain't going to be able to find Joe Flacco sitting on the couch. If Joe Flacco was in Sean Payton's offense, would it still run the same? Every situation is different. So Denver made their bed and they got to lie in it.